Behind me is the 2016 Acura MDX. Now this is the biggest SUV Acura makes, but it's not that big in the grand scheme of luxury SUVs. Now for 2016, the model hasn't changed, completely. It's very much the same SUV that we know and enjoy and has reviewed well at Edmunds.com. The engine is still in a 3.5-liter V6 that makes about 290 horsepower and about 270 pound-feet of torque or so. The transmission and all-wheel drive system are new. The transmission is now a 9-speed automatic, which should help with acceleration and fuel economy, while the all-wheel drive system is lighter, which should help make the car more fuel efficient and a little bit more fun to drive too. Lighter is better. Now this is not the largest luxury SUV in the world, of course, but it does have some features that make it sort of behave like one, and namely what happens underneath the back hatch here. When the power liftgate opens up, you see that it has third-row seating. This is not something you don't see a lot of in this size of an SUV, but it's a nice thing to have if you need this functionality but don't want the size of a full-size luxury SUV. The third row is easy to fold and stow. Just grab these levers and flip them down, and then it opens up your cargo capacity when you need it. But because the seats are still there, because the seats still exist, you do have less cargo capacity than you would without the seats. That said, they flip back up normally, pretty easy. But when they do, they sort of impinge upon the available cargo capacity, and that's just, you can't beat the laws of physics when it comes to that kind of stuff. Now with that, let's take a look inside. All right, here we are inside the 2016 Acura MDX. As you can see, it still is using analog gauges, which is nice if you like analog gauges, but a lot of the automakers are moving to an LCD format for display. Now, the interior is very much the same as previous years. This infotainment display, this dual screen infotainment display, we actually dinged the car on because we found it a bit annoying to use in application. It takes a while to learn, and it does work, though it is slower than a few other options that we've seen in the industry. It's kind of the big disappointment with this car. With the new 9-speed automatic transmission, you get this push-button shifter, which we've seen in other Acura models too. This kind of has a love it and hate it thing as well. It does take relearning to, remember that you have to hit reverse by clicking that, and this is your drive button and all that stuff. But this is something that you'll just have to adapt with, and it won't be too bad when you do. Generous storage spaces inside the car, cargo cubbies and all that fun stuff, all the stuff that you need from a large SUV that can carry, 2, 5, 7 people, a 7-passenger SUV. That's a lot of stuff. And a sunroof, of course, because that's what we need. You also see here lane departure warning, and there's also new Siri Eyes free, which works with Apple devices. And we hope to see a bit more Apple CarPlay and Android Auto systems in the infotainment system as this car ages. But let's take a look at the back seat. So, again, the lighting kind of makes it difficult to see, but you have a large back seat and a pretty comfortable one too. Dual vents for the rear passengers with air controls back here, which is really nice to have when you want to control the AC. Plenty of leg room, plenty of headroom, plenty of knee room. This is really the size that you need for when you're carrying a lot of people. Now let's see how we can get into the third row. So to get in the third row, you press this button, and voila, there you go. And pretty easy access to the back seat. Now it's gonna be pretty tight back there. It's really only for kids, but good if you have a lot of them. That's the 2016 Acura MDX. To find more information and read the Edmunds A rating review on this car, go to Edmunds.com.